Today we'll do something different. I will answer the question, how do I find my career? And usually people mean working with their dream job and passion and, or a hobby or something like that. And I'm not gonna, there are some people that say you shouldn't follow your passion, you should follow your passion and so forth. But in my opinion, if you don't follow your passion, you will always be unsatisfied and you won't have a drive. You need a drive. Now, I will give you 3 simple steps here, but the best is to work on yourself, and working on yourself will get you to your instincts. You fix yourself first, you get to your instincts. The greats, they don't think like, what is my career and what's my passion? They already know their passion by instinct. They just do it. It's not like Leonardo da Vinci. He was like, how do I find my career? No, he was born for, he was born a polymath. So, doing many things, painting, and he sold those things, he worked for others, but he also worked for himself a lot. So, he had a lot of talents. Now, we all have some talent, all right? But, all right, so let's get into this simple second method then. All right, so only 3 steps here. And you can move back and forth like this from these 3 and see where you'll get at, what you'll get at. But technically, I want to make I want to make a different video as well, an ultimate guide to this. Because there are a lot of questions within these, and perhaps I should break it all down in great detail so that you understand. But I'll do my best today, because perhaps that will be too overwhelming. So I don't want to. So today I don't want to go overboard. I just want to go simple, very simple. Well, I always want to go simple. Even in the ultimate guide thing, I will just, it will be logical, it will all follow through, But let's look at it this way, all right? You can look at this in different ways, in a lot of different ways. There are a lot of videos about this, a lot of people are talking about this, and the reason why there are so many videos and a lot of people are talking about this is that there is no, it's not a science, all right? This is not science. So because it's about human nature, and because it's about human nature, it's complex, and you gotta ask yourself, it's a lot of inner conflict. And my philosophy makes that easier, because you focus on yourself and then you focus on your work and legacy. So if you want to go deeper, you should watch my other videos and go deeper and learn about how to diet properly and exercise properly and all those things. I've already gone through all of that. So you just apply all of them, and more importantly, the philosophy, the mindset, and then you will get here by instinct, all right? But we can do it like this as well, all right? The second method here. All right, step 1, list all your hobbies or interests or, anything you can think of that you would want to work with. And it's a good idea to list your criterias. What's my criteria? How much do I want to make? Where do I want to work? All those, you can have all those criterias, and that will help you nail this down even further. And you can start with listing all your hobbies. And we will get to the example here, but let's first just talk about it in general. And I can't talk about every single example, but all right. So step 1, list all your hobbies, interests. Step 2, which one do you have a skill in? All right. The important thing here is skill. Skill within the hobby. A skill within the hobby. All right. So do I have, which of these hobbies that I've listed, all of them, do I have a skill in them? right? You might be great at watching movies, but do you have a skill in editing? Do you even want to create films? You know, do you want to create a book or something, or yoga? You love doing yoga, but do you have a skill in yoga? You know, so, or training or something like that, or meditation. Do you have a skill in it? All right. So basically, it usually means, can you exercise it or can you teach it? So step number 3, how can you turn the skill into a service or product? And obviously, you can do both, you can do one of them, and so forth. I will give you an example soon here. So, you know, it's not enough just to have a hobby. You gotta also have a skill in it, and then turn it into something. And that will, you solve something in the market. You can also ask it like this: is there a market for it? That's a pretty common one. Is there a market for it? Now, if you're ambitious, I put here bold people. Can I invent a market for it? Because I don't believe in mediocrity. I don't believe in mediocrity. I don't believe that you have to listen to all these people saying that it's impossible. Your dream is impossible. Your dream is not impossible if you're turning it the right way. All right? So if you have a yoga passion, all right, let's look at yoga. You have a yoga passion. This is far from impossible. There is even a market for it. There are a lot of people buying yoga books, but not just books, obviously, you know, doing yoga. You can, for example, create a service, you know, you can create coaching, consulting, you can do workshops, you can start events, you can, and you can do this with anything, you know. Let's say you love poetry and you're great at creating and writing poems, all right? You have a skill here, all right? So it's not for nothing, but you can still create a workshop, you can create a YouTube channel, you can create a Patreon account. You can create a product, obviously, a book with a lot of poems. You can get to events and write poems at parties and events. All right? That's also that's a very interesting way of doing poetry, for example. So you see, just because you have this a dream of yours doesn't mean it's impossible. It's not impossible. You just have to take it and turn it into something. And you first you have to understand where your skills are at. And you go after your strength. That is the best, of course. Of course, you know, go after your strengths. Now, don't go against your strengths. So even though you love, you know, let's say you love watching movies, but you have no will there, no strengths, no true passion except in just watching. So you see, creating and watching is not the same thing. It's not the same thing. So that's why people sometimes perhaps say you shouldn't go after your passion, because you mistake, you know, your consuming with creating. You gotta be a creator. You gotta be a creator, and that is how business actually works, because you're solving a problem people have. For example, well, the problem can just be that they desire knowing more about and exercising yoga. And then you solve it by teaching them how to exercise yoga. So technically it's just that. It's just that. You take a problem their existing problem, and well, it's easier if it's an existing problem. If you're inventing something totally, like bold people can do, well, it's not totally, it's still something, it will still be something that exists. Steve Jobs is a great example of bold people here. Invent a new market for it. Well, basically, you're not just inventing a new market, you're going, but this is, of course, deeper. This is not most people, and you might not even be interested in this, but, you know, I like ambitious people. I like ambition. And you can mix things, you know, you can mix yoga with meditation, you can mix things, you can create something new and create a niche that isn't existing in some sense, but people don't always know what they want, all right? People usually say, give people what they want, but a lot of the time, not a single person knew that they would want an iPhone. Not a single person knew this. They realized this once it existed. So you see, there is a risk there, there is a taking a chance there and believing in your dream and your passion, the way Steve Jobs did, all right? But that's for the most ambitious people. And, I like those people. I like those people. You should be ambitious. You should be ambitious. Because if you're ambitious, you will get, at least you will always get somewhere. Because if you're ambitious, you will always have drive. You will always try to figure it out. You will always try to figure it out. Now these are 3 simple steps here. So for example, you write it down, you have yoga in your interest, you realize, all right, yeah, I'm great at yoga. I've done it for, years or something. And then you realize, all right, and then the creative comes in the step 3 here, because perhaps you want to create a product or a service, and then you go, all right, I want to do yoga. So how do I, you can go with the step 4, how do I create a service? How do I go from here? And obviously I can't go into every single detail, but I already told you what you can do, events, workshops, and so forth. You can open up a studio and so forth. But of course, that takes money and investment and so forth. But you can do things without money as well. You can start consulting. Because you already have a skill. You just need to market yourself, and you can use, for example, Facebook. You can use social media for marketing yourself. And that's a way like that, all right? So it's not impossible. You just gotta be willing to do this, and it will take a lot of work. It takes a ton of work. You gotta be dedicated, but that's why passion is important. That is why it's important. Because if you don't have the passion, you will just drop it. But if you love what you're doing, you won't ever drop it. You will make sure that it works. So you see, in some sense, I'm always talking about the ambitious people. Because you're still ambitious, even though you're not trying to invent something new here, inventing the wheel, but still you're very passionate, and you can actually become the greatest within this niche and so forth. So that is actually how Amazon started. Amazon went from selling books, but now it's the everything store, like he said. Jeff Bezos, he always had that vision of an everything store, but he started small. Everything starts small. Everything starts small, and then it builds. You see, core outwards. That is my philosophy, and that is the greatest way of thinking about this. Now, the best way is, of course, to just work on yourself so you understand yourself, and then you will understand which hobbies and interests. You will align all of these things almost automatically, almost instinctually. You will do this instinctually. But there is a way like this, of course, as well. That's a short video today. I will perhaps make a more ultimate guide of how to get there, because there are a lot of questions you can ask yourself. Do I want to make a living out of this? Do I want to? You gotta have those criterias. Like I said in the beginning, you gotta have criterias. Write them down. Write down all your criterias. I want to be. I don't want to work. I want to work with people, or I want to work with technology, or you gotta find that. I want to work with having a shop or something like that, or open up a bed and breakfast or something. You gotta, but then it's a service also, and you gotta figure. You gotta list those criterias. That could be a step 4 or 5. All right. So you have it there. All right. You have it there. So just follow these steps and I think they will help you a lot. If you have troubles with this or a lifestyle in general and fixing your lifestyle, fixing your life in general, you can visit my website. I have consulting and we will see if we are compatible and if it works, because I don't just work with anyone. I need to understand that you have a true will to change, all right? Otherwise it's pointless. It won't be satisfying to neither of us. So it is important that it makes sense, all right? So, like I said, you gotta have criteria. You gotta make sure that you don't just accept anything or anyone, you know? You list your criteria, and those are important. You mark your stance, all right? You mark where you are at. So, until next time, I will see you perhaps, well, I will see you tomorrow because I do these every day. All right, see you tomorrow.